Please give it up right now for Selwyn Fisher. Y'all give it up for him.
Man, y'all clap it up for Vaughn. I knew he was crazy when he said he smoking weed and he put Febreze on it. That's not your fragrance. That smells like weed. That's just a combination of it. I used to smoke weed. I did. Any weed smokers out here? Okay, yeah. I had to stop though because I was smoking with my homeboy one day and then he was like, "Man, bruh, man, I'm sad today." I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Man, the blood clots killed my mama." I said, "The Jamaicans killed your mama?" Nah, why you say that? You said the blood clots, man. I'm treating. He's like, "Oh, nah, man." He was like, "I'm talking about them blood clots." I said, "Oh, let me put this down." That was my last day. I had to sober up from that, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, you might be a veteran if you've ever heard pin your Peter beaters to your sides. Yeah, I know y'all look like Peter beaters in your hands right here. I know you ladies, you look like a Peter beater. You too, don't laugh. It ain't funny. You know what I'm saying, man? That's not for real though. Like, I joined the Air Force because I went to the Marine Corps recruiter first, and he told me, he said, "Look here." He said, "If you don't join the Marine Corps," he said, "you ain't gonna be shit in life." I said, "Damn." So I said, "Well, all right." He said, "You look like you can't handle the tip or the spear." I said, "First off, I ain't trying to handle nobody's tip or spear." Pause. Right? It was wild to me. So I went over to the Navy. And my last name is Fisher. And I went over there to the Navy recruiter and I walked in there and I was like, you know what, this might not be a good idea. Because my last name is Fisher. Okay? And they called him Seaman. And I put it together real quick. I was like, Seaman Fisher. And I was like, oh yeah, that ain't gonna sound good. Because if I'm in line, I was like, Seaman Fisher, come here. Reporter for duty, sir. He was like, hey, tap your boy in the back. And his last name was Sample. I was like, oh no. Seaman Fisher and Sample? This ain't happening. I said, this ain't a branch for me. This not the branch for me. I couldn't do it, man. Yeah, my mother was in the Marine Corps, so I used to get a lot of beatings. Yeah, that's not funny. I did. She used to whip me into shape for real. Like, she used to beat me so bad that she beat me in cadence. She was like, "Didn't I tell you, get your tail?" I said, oh man. So when I joined the Air Force, I heard it. The cadence immediately there. 1, 2, 3. I said, oh no. It was crazy. Yeah, I used to date this girl. She used to listen to a lot of Cardi B. You know what I mean? She said she had that WAP. I said, I was like, you know, I used to listen. So I got that WAP. I got that wet. I said, oh yeah. I was getting ready to do something real adultish to her, right? I was like, you know what? Let me head down to the subway. When I started to go down a little bit, I said, you know what? Hold on. Wait a minute. You said you got that wet. She said, yeah, I got that Aquafina. I said, it smelled like that Anacostia. She used to wear a lot of Bath and Body Works. Her bath or her body wasn't working. She even used to wear this fragrance called Love Spell. I said, what kind of witchcraft is this? I couldn't take it no more. She had stockings on, and when she took it off, it was like a Ziploc bag. I said, what kind of punching poontang is this? It hit me so hard, it was like a punching bag. It was like, oh no. Had to leave that thing alone, man, I'm telling you. It was wild. I got a cousin that just got out. For the white people that's out of jail, okay? Nah, but as soon as he got out, man, he said something crazy to me. He said, where you been, cuz? Where you been? I said, free? He said, oh man, you know what I mean. I said, He's like, I said, oh, I see you got a little muscle on you. He's like, well, you know I had to keep him up off of me. I said, no, I don't. You know what I'm saying? I said, hey, man. I said, is it true what they say about jail? He's like, oh, no, man, I ain't did no gay shit. I said, I didn't ask that. Guilty? Right? He's like, oh, man, I heard DC done changed a little bit. I said, it did. He said, is it gay as they say it is? I said, why you asking? He's like, what about DuPont Circle? I said, why you GPSing your gay? Like, he had pinpointed it, like he wanted to go down there. I said, I will not be your Uber Eats, okay? I had to leave that alone. I said, it wasn't happening, man. Anybody got kids? Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Okay. I got a son that's real smart, but he dumb at the same time. He got a smartphone. Anybody else? Okay, yeah. He's in the 9th grade. He's in AP algebra, AP biology, AP geometry, but he's failing gym. Come on, bruh. What's going on? He also take ASL. He got an F in that. I said, how you got an F in the ASL? I said, you know sign language? He said, I said, hey, I seen what you did. I said, okay, boy. I said, since you so smart, I said, what's the difference between an atom and a hormone? He said, I don't know, Daddy. He said, I told him, I said, son, you can't hear an atom. He said, Daddy, you can't hear a hormone either. I said, wait till you get older, son. Wait till you get older. Hey, man, my name is Selwyn Fisher. Y'all can look me up on Instagram. Fisher is funny. I appreciate y'all time.